Gauging the political fallout from Turkey's massive earthquakes. Turkey's recent massive earthquakes will impact the country's election campaign, potentially making it even more difficult for the ruling Justice and Development Party, AKP, to maintain control over the legislature and presidency in upcoming elections. 7.8 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes struck near the Turkish cities of Kahramanmaraş and Gaziantep in the early hours of February 6, killing thousands and causing widespread destruction in both southern Turkey and nearby northern Syria. The earthquakes are the deadliest Turkey has seen since the 1999 Izmit earthquake near Istanbul, which killed over 17,000 people and cost over $6.5 billion in damages. While the full scale of the infrastructural and humanitarian damage caused by the February 6 quakes is still being accounted for, the disaster also has the potential to cause significant damage to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his ruling party's political prospects ahead of the next general election, which will likely be held in May. The AKP already has a spotty track record when it comes to disaster response. The public widely criticized its management of the 2021 wildfires that caused wide-scale damage to the country's forests. The February 6 earthquakes also caused widespread damage in Turkish protected territory in Syria, which the AKP hopes to use to resettle the 3.6 million Syrian refugees living in Turkey who have become the target of rising nativist sentiment in the lead-up to the 2023 ballot. Turkey's government was accused of mismanaging relief funds and failing to improve infrastructure in the wake of the 1999 Izmit earthquake, which caused billions of dollars worth of damage at a time when the country was facing a greater economic crisis. The fallout from the disaster highlighted the government's weak leadership and failed economic policies, further opening the door for the AKP's electoral victory in 2002. The AKP was on the defensive for its handling of the devastating wildfires that swept over Turkey in the summer of 2021. The opposition accused the ruling party of failing to take the threat of climate change seriously and misallocating air assets that might have mitigated some of the major mountain fires. Erdogan was also widely criticized for throwing tea sachets to wildfire victims in a mismanaged publicity stunt. The February 6 earthquakes also caused major destruction inside Turkish and rebel-held Syrian territory, where over a decade of civil war and a lack of reconstruction have left infrastructure particularly vulnerable to such disasters. Turkey's large Syrian refugee population has become an increasingly divisive political issue amid the country's deepening economic crisis and skyrocketing inflation. A growing number of Turks have become hostile to the idea of a long-term refugee presence in their country, seeing themselves in competition with refugees for limited jobs, resources, and housing. This rise in nativist sentiment has prompted both the AKP and the opposition to promise to resettle Syrians ahead of the 2023 election.